Welcome to the Real Happy Mom podcast. I'm your host, Tony Ann, the blogger and content creator at Real Happy Mom, where moms can find encouragement and practical tips for this journey called motherhood. I also have this podcast to introduce you to other moms from various walks of life. And today I'm talking to Chari about rediscovering ourselves after being a mom. But before we jump into this episode, I want to make sure that you know about my mommy affirmations. These affirmations will help you keep a positive mindset, especially when this journey called motherhood gets a little rough. So head over to realhappymom.com/affirmations to download your free printables today. Now let's jump into episode number 38 with Chari. All right, welcome to the podcast, Chari. It is great to have you on today.
Thank you.
So before we get started, I just wanted you to share a little bit about you and what you do in your business.
I am a mother to 9-year-old twins. I have a very energetic 5-year-old boy.
Oh, yes.
I am married. We've been married this year. In June, last month, made 8 years.
Nice.
So that's me on the personal side. Business-wise, I help moms to flourish as wives and moms while living their unique identity as women, because we often give so much to our husbands and our children and our church and everyone else, but we forget about who we are. So I do that through books, through online courses, and also through inspirational speaking.
You have a very interesting term that you like to use called mommy zombie. I like to call it mommy monster when you kind of just get to that point. So I thought it was so funny to hear you call it mommy zombie. But I just wanted you to share with us your story about how you got to that point of becoming mommy zombie and you knew it was time that you need to rediscover yourself.
Well, 9 years ago, I had just given birth to my twins. And for those that moms know, and for those who are not, when you have newborns, you're trying to get sleep. I was breastfeeding, so I was breastfeeding, making bottles, changing diapers, and I felt like I was a zombie because I was barely getting sleep. I had my husband help me, of course, because he's wonderful, but we were both zombies, really. So I was just like, God, I need some type of outside identity besides just being a mother to these twins, because they're so all encompassing. Mm-hmm. And from there, at that point, I was like, okay, look, I need something else. I need to express myself. And that's when I prayed and I asked God, and I began searching online. Many of you guys may have heard of Etsy. It's an online shop where you can find vintage items as well as a lot of handmade items. And I was looking at jewelry because I love jewelry. And I was like, wow, this is cute. I like this. I can make jewelry. But I was like, I want it to be a little different. So I love to inspire people. So I said I add a little inspirational twist. So I started Chari T's Inspirational Creations, scripture-based, faith-based jewelry. And I did that for a while, for about 5 years. And I felt God pulling me. You know how you feel like, okay, I'm doing this, but I feel like there's more for me to do. Mm-hmm. And God gets you uncomfortable. If you're ever in a situation where you're just feeling like I need to bust out this box, that's kind of in a way how I felt. So again, I prayed and brought to remembrance, girl, you used to do poetry, this stuff before I became a mom. Mm-hmm. You used to do poetry, you used to do theater. You really love inspiring people. Yes, you're doing it with your jewelry, but you need to do more. So I published my first book in 2015, Living Your God-Inspired Purpose. I performed a poem at a local event here in Houston about living your God-inspired purpose. And I started creating online courses, and I'm just continuing to do more with my inspirational speaking. And I have a new book that I'm going to start working on for moms as well that I am super excited about.
That is really awesome. I really like that. And I love the poetry side that you have, because poetry is something that I admire people that can do it, because I am not good with my words. So I really admire people who can actually put together their words, especially in poetry. And I know you mentioned the poem And I didn't know if you're prepared, but if you are, I would love if you would just share a little bit of that poem that you were mentioning that you had written.
Okay, well, I'll share a little bit actually of a more recent poem that I did.
Okay, yeah, that's even better.
Okay. You see, the world treats us like second-class citizens, especially if we possess this beautiful brown skin. So we compensate by working harder, getting smarter, yet something's missing. Seems like we've forgotten our purpose and our mission. We've succumbed to the enemy's lies and disbelief, believing that the best in the world is for everyone else, but nothing is left for me. Yes, me, you, we're all on the same team. Beautiful women capable of anything. Yet the world wants us to shrink. Be afraid of change, the very thing that can set us free. You see, we are everyone else's cheerleader, but forgetting to root for ourselves. Make sure everyone else's dreams come true. But where do we put ours? Up on a shelf. But you can have both. You must, you will, when you believe. That the very gifts that God has given you is ingrained into your very being. So much so that you can accomplish anything. So that's a little of that.
That was good. You hear my snaps?
Thank you.
Nice. Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. Now, Chari, you mentioned a little bit too that you had started taking some steps to figure out, okay, I'm more than just a mom. I am a motivational speaker. I am an author. I am all of these different things. So can you share with us some of the steps that you took to get to the place where you realize I'm more than just a mom?
For me, a lot of us as moms, we deal with overwhelm. So when I started, like I said, when my twins were younger, when they were babies, that's what I was feeling. I was feeling overwhelmed. I was feeling kind of like I was trapped in a way. I don't know if you guys know what that's like, but before I had children, I told this in a speech I did previously. I said, I never wanted to be a mom.
Okay.
I was Miss Independent. I was like, hey, I'm doing my own thing. Like I said before, I was doing my poetry and all that. So after I had my kids and I felt like I was doing everything for them, I was like, whoa, I've lost myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost my sense of self. And I was like, I can't do that because what if something happens to them? Then, like, God forbid, but if something happens to them, if they died or something, then who am I? What do I have left? I will feel like my whole world is gone because really it will be gone because I gave my all to them. So that's when I realized really that when I felt that overwhelmed, that sense of losing myself, that I was like, I need something else. Of course, we find joy from our kids, but we also need to find joy from things that we love to do. And so that's when I started to pray about, and think about and list out things that I like to do. I'm a do-it-yourself. I'm crafty. I just happen to do jewelry. But that's something I would definitely recommend doing if you're feeling that overwhelmed, if you're feeling like, who am I? Ask yourself, who am I? What do I like to do? What am I good at? That's what I did. And I asked my friends, what am I good at? What are my characteristics? Because you might be an awesome counselor if a lot of your friends say you're a great listener, you give good advice, or a life coach. So those are a few of the things that I did. I recognized, because what is it they say? You first have to admit that you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to admit that, okay, I'm giving my all to my kids. What am I going to do next? And then how do I start that? I ask myself, what am I good at? And then I say, how can I apply that gift to, like I said, if you're a good listener and you give good advice, you could be a life coach, you could be a counselor. There's different things you could be. You could be a teacher, depending on, what you want to do with your life. So those are some of the things that I did.
I had an episode where I talked to Katie all about getting lost in motherhood. And I realized that this is a really common problem that many moms go through, that is not something that was just unique to me, because I got to a point, honestly, where I went back to work and one of my colleagues was like, yeah, so what's like your favorite food? What do you like to do? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I really did not know
Right.
because I was just so used to just being a mom, wife, mom, wife. Like, that's all I did. Like, I didn't know anything outside of that. And I really got to a point where I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I wanted to do for fun. It was really, really bad. So I'm glad that you're sharing this because it is, like I said, a very common problem with moms. It is not something that is just unique to you. It happens a lot, a lot, lot.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, Jerry, you are very good at encouraging moms in particular. So I was just wondering if you had any encouraging words for moms that may be in various stages with their children as far as their ages, but they're just feeling lost. What is something that you would give to them at this point?
I would tell you to find yourself. No, no, seriously, though. You find yourself by taking time to yourself.
Okay.
So if you have a newborn or if you have a special needs child and they're requiring a whole lot of your attention, even if you can only get 5 to 15 minutes a day in or every other day, take that time to just breathe, relax. Like they say, if you have a colicky baby, of course your baby's crying, so you want to soothe them, but they're saying, don't let yourself go crazy. You may have to let them cry and you go take some time to relax. That applies with whether you have a colicky child or not. You want to take some time to go and say, okay, people recommend journaling. Sometimes just take that time and write down the things that you like to do or you used to like to do that, like you said, you haven't done it forever because you have kids. And if you, of course, if you can get if you can get yourself 30 minutes or a few hours, go out, go to the movies, go out and be around some friends. Very often you'll rediscover who you are when you start talking to your friends, especially if you've known them for a while. And y'all start talking about what y'all used to do back in the day. You're like, man, I remember that. Oh, God, you know, you start
Yes.
reminiscing. That's a good way to help you find yourself again and remember the things that you used to love to do that you just don't, or you can find out new things you like to do. Your friends may start talking about something. Girl, a friend of mine, she rides motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I'll be with her. That ain't my thing. But you may decide, oh, I think I want to, start riding motorcycles, and you find a new interest. So
Mhm.
that's what I would recommend.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, before we sign out, I just wanted to ask you a few things that are a little off topic, but just about your jewelry, because there may be some moms that are listening are like, ooh, how did she get started with that? Because I'm crafty too, and I would like to do that.
Let's see. Well, first, I go to YouTube.
Okay.
Go to YouTube. Because when I think about it, I think about you can read articles, which you can't, depend on what type of learner you are. You
Mm-hmm.
can either Google and read the articles, but for me, I'm very, very visual. So a lot of stuff I Google. And first I was using a lot of beads. So I learned how to make beaded bracelets and beaded necklaces and earrings. And then I started hand stamping where
Okay.
you stamp. I wish I had, oh, well, let's see. I don't know if you'll be able to see it because the camera acts funny. Let's see. Yeah.
Yes,
I
I
don't know
see
if you can
that.
see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, this is like, I made these years ago. So this is like a rough draft. But
Okay.
I always say like this is the first edition where you stamp each letter.
Oh,
And
each
so
letter. Okay.
yes, you stamp each letter and then you color it in and all that wonderful stuff. But I
Okay.
learned that by going to YouTube and looking at different videos, just whatever it is you're interested in. If you want to do hand stamped, if you want to do beaded bracelets, whatever, and there's different types, there's different types like woven bracelets you can make or necklaces, whatever it is, YouTube. YouTube, I'm telling you, and
Okay.
just watch videos and take your time, give yourself grace. Don't expect it to look perfect the first time because, like I
Mhm.
said, this was a rough draft. And if you go on my website, the pair that's on there now look way better.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Now, are there any YouTube channels in particular that you would follow that you liked a lot more than others, or you just kind of looked at everything?
It's been a while since I don't focus on my jewelry as much.
Okay, gotcha.
Um, yeah, I would just whatever has the most views, I would
Mhm.
probably look at. I would think,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And then getting your Etsy shop, that wasn't too difficult for you to get that going.
No, there's YouTube. You can read blogs about it. Even you can go on Etsy, if I'm not mistaken. They do have a blog, and you'll probably be able to find something on how to set up your Etsy shop. There's even people on Etsy who sell digital products to help you set up your Etsy shop.
Okay.
So whichever works best for you, you can try any of those.
Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing that, because like I said, I'm sure there may be someone listening like, ooh, I want to do that. So I'll definitely make sure to include some of those resources in the show notes. Now, Chair, before we sign off, I ask all of my guests the same question, and that is, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I think my superpower would be to be an extrovert. I honestly, if people don't believe me, I don't like being around a lot of people. I like being at home, in my bed. If my kids come in here too much, your kids, one child will come in here, then they leave, and then the other, they don't recognize they're doing it. But I'm like, y'all coming in here back to back. Joe Siden came in here and he left out. Journey came in here. I'm like, I need some mommy time.
Yes.
Mommy me time. I call it mommy me time. So I would be an extrovert. I have to make myself get out and network. Just even going into my speaking career, I love helping moms. I absolutely love it. But I just have to make myself getting used to being around a lot of people.
Gotcha. Okay.
When I get out there, I make it happen.
But
yeah, that would be my superpower.
No, that's a good one. I like it. Now, Chari, where can we find you if we want to learn more about you online and about your business?
You can find me on Instagram at CIC Inspire Me. You wouldn't know how to spell it, but hopefully you'll put it in the show notes.
Yes,
Facebook,
I'll put it in there.
On Facebook, I'm Chari Tweety Hawkins of Charity's Inspirational Creations, and my website is cicinspireme.com.
Perfect. Yes. And I will definitely include all of those in the show notes. So, Chari, thank you so much for coming on and talking to me today and sharing all of this good information.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now that does it for this episode of the Real Happy Mom podcast. To find the links in the show notes, make sure you head over to realhappymom.com/38. There you'll find a complete blog post as well as all the links that Chari mentioned. And do me a favor, if you found this podcast helpful, I want you to share it with a mommy friend and then hit subscribe so that you can be notified of the next episode that comes out next week. Now that does it for this episode. I'll catch you in the next one.